And we are recording. Welcome to the Outreach Retreat. So for today, the first part of today, we're going to go over the Outreach Best Practices training. And then in the afternoon, we're going to do some team building and we're going to go through some scenarios. And we will also get to meet the Forest Preserve staff, which is really exciting because that's a partnership we've been hoping for quite a while now. So I'm going to present my slides. And do y'all see the presenter view or do you just see the actual presentation?
We see the slides with the transcription below them. At least I do.
You don't see the next slide part?
Nope.
Awesome, cool, it's working.
This
Yay.
is exactly what you want, yeah.
Thanks for your patience, y'all. All right, so first, as we like to do at the Alliance and as we hope that you all will do at your agencies, we like to start meetings with a Land and First Nations acknowledgement. So as we gather together, we acknowledge the sacred land on which we meet. Humans have lived, gathered, and traded here for some 15,000 years, and this is the traditional homeland of at least 30 indigenous groups of people, including Billy Cadwell or Saguanash and the Potawatomi people of the Council of Three Fires, the Illinois or Illinois Confederation, which includes the Cahokia, Miami, and Michigammia peoples. I know I'm probably mispronouncing these, and I apologize for that. And the Ho-Chunk people until they were all forcibly removed by the US government in the 1830s. Today, Chicago, particularly the Uptown, Rogers Park, and Ravenswood communities, is the home of some 27,000 descendants from these and other indigenous nations from across Turtle Island. We honor the history and contributions of Native peoples in this region, and we recognize a legacy of broken treaties and covenants and the need to strive to make right with all our relations. And so now I would love to do some introductions. So if you could share your name, your pronouns, your agency and position, and what is your favorite thing about providing outreach? To make this go smoother, I'm just going to call you out by the order you are in my screen over here. So we'll start with Jennifer.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi, my name is Jennifer and my pronoun is she and her. My agency is Housing Forward. I am street outreach specialist, and my favorite thing about outreaching is I get to just meet people and just talk to a lot of people, and I get to travel a lot. You know, I'm all over the place, and I like that.
Awesome, thanks, Jennifer. Jake, I see you're next to my.
Hey everyone, I am Jake Bradley. I am Carolyn's colleague at the Alliance to End Homelessness. I use gender neutral pronouns like they, them, or ze, here, or any other gender neutral sets. I really love outreach, and that has been the sort of majority of my sort of vocational history has been providing direct service harm reduction outreach in various kinds of vehicles and styles. And I guess the thing I like the most about it is kind of like Jennifer said, I like being outside, out and about. There's just a lot of adventure and you never quite know what to expect. You have to think on your feet. It's scrappy and nitty gritty and creative. And I love all of that. Thanks.
Thank you, Jake. Michael?
Hi, my name is Michael McAndrews. I'm System Navigator for Northwest Compass. And what was the last question supposed to be? I'm so sorry.
Your pronouns and your favorite thing about providing outreach.
It is he and him and outreach. I'm still fairly new at all of this, so it would be my first time doing an outreach coming up soon.
That's exciting.
So I look forward to all that. So I'm so sorry. I'm still kind of new to all of this, but I'm looking forward to the adventure ahead.
We're excited to have you here. Next, I have Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily from Respond Now. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the food access and street outreach coordinator here. And my favorite thing about outreach is meeting new people and cultivating relationships and seeing people grow.
Awesome. Janaea?
Good morning. My name is Janaea Moore. My pronouns are she, her. And my favorite thing about outreach is, I just like that it's outside of the office. It's not an office setting. I get to be outside in the community. So not only meeting people who are experiencing homelessness, but other providers, other resources in the community as well.
Thank you. And do you want to share your agency, since I'm not sure if everyone knows that you're with us now?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm with the Alliance to End Homelessness. I am the Youth Leadership and Engagement Coordinator.
Awesome, thank you. Next, I have Eris.
Hi, I am Iris Carter. I am the system navigator with Aunt Martha's. I go by she or her. And my favorite thing about outreach is being able to connect people with different services that they probably weren't able to get on their own.
Awesome, thank you.
Nope.
Monica?
Okay, sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. My name is Monica. I'm with Youth Outreach Services. I am the system navigator for the West. Pronoun is she, her, hers. And I'm new to this type of a structure, but I'm definitely not new to outreach whatsoever. And I would think my favorite thing about outreach is being able to establish your own connections and network, being able to do that your own. So I really enjoy that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Danette? Danette, you're muted. I'm going to try and unmute you.
Got it. Hi, my name is Danette, and my pronouns are she and her, and I am an outreach engagement specialist at Housing Forward. And outreach just fits my personality. I'm not a sit behind the desk type of person. I love getting out into the community, talking and engaging and referring individuals. And one of the things that I love most is when I'm able to watch individuals grow and go into our interim housing program or other programs and just watch them develop and blossom. So that's one of the things I really love about outreach.
That makes me happy to hear. Thanks, Annette. Next, I have the Beds Outreach team. I love that there's so many of you now.
Hi, Carolyn. Good morning. How's everyone?
Good, how are y'all doing?
Good. So my name is Mario Avila. I use the pronouns he, him, his. I'm the manager of outreach here at Beds Plus. I enjoy seeing individuals move from crisis to stability. Simply put, yep. I enjoy what I do, and everyone here, I'm sure, enjoys what they do as well. So we can go around and maybe introduce everyone here, Carolyn.
Yes, please.
Go ahead, Stuart.
I'm Ray Stewart.
And then what you do here?
I volunteer at Beds and I help out with the outreach and.
Thanks, Stuart.
Hey everyone, I'm Garrett.
Oops.
We lost things tonight. He, him, and I like learning about people and their stories. So really excites me.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Robert. I'm with the outreach program, and I like what I'm doing. I came from Feds. I was with the program since last year, and you know, I like the gratification. You know, just seeking these people out. That's my thing. I like doing that, trying to get them to the centers for help, because that was the situation I was in when I came. So, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Hi, my name is Thomas. Hi, my name is Thomas, and I'm in the outreach program. And I like what I'm doing. I like going out finding people that's homeless. Sort of much like seeking them out, trying to talk to them, trying to get them off of alcohol and drugs, and trying to just get them somewhere safe to stay. You have a lot of people that's been out there so long till they didn't got to the point where they don't want to come in, and you have to convince them otherwise. That's the part I like. I like to try to convince them to get off the streets for once and for all. That's my goal. Thank you.
Thanks, Oman.
Thanks for being here.
Krista Edwards in the back.
Hi guys, I'm Krista. I use pronouns she and her. I'm obviously with Feds. I like the adventure of it all and ultimately making a difference in somebody's life as well as our community. So.
Awesome, thanks for being here.
I'm Zach. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm a part of Fed's outreach program. And kind of like Krista said, I like the experience of getting to try to help people, and you're not sitting behind a desk, you're actually going out and trying to make a difference in people's lives every day, which is a nice experience to have.
That's everyone.
Awesome, thank you, Feds Outreach team.
Thank you.
Next I have Sandra.
Hi, I'm Sandra Green. I go by she, her, hers. I'm a system navigator at Aunt Martha's. I enjoy outreach because you get out in the community, you're able to connect to people that have needs. And doing outreach, you find so many different needs. And it's good to be able to assist them, help them, connect them to where they can be benefit from the services. And I like networking with other agencies because we can't provide everything, but I could connect them to some other agency. So it is good to do outreach, and I enjoy it.
Awesome, thank you. Shanisha.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm with Connections for the Homeless. I'm also an outreach specialist. What I enjoy about doing outreach is the ability to build a rapport with the individuals, help them get housing or get them connected to resources.
Great.
I might have to check out a little early. We're down a lot of case managers right now, and I'm gonna have to check out, unfortunately, but I'm so sorry.
Okay, well just hop on whenever you can.
Okay.
And Emily?
I went already.
Oh, sorry. My
It's
list
okay.
got moved around. Maria?
Hi, my name is Maria Torpen. My pronouns are she and her. The agency that I work with is Respond Now. I'm going to start the new position of a straight outreach worker. One thing that I like is I've been doing outreach with other organizations, but nothing with homelessness. but just the connection with the people, knowing your community. Especially for me, I'm from Indiana. I live in Indiana. I know a lot of connections in Indiana, but I had to learn how to connect in Illinois. It's a little different, but so I can see the difficulty that people have to get those connections, right? Even if I'm working and try to find some agencies, I I only can imagine for people who doesn't have the equipment or the time to do that, to be able to do it. So it's nice for me to try to help everybody that I can.
Thank you. Tania?
Hi, my name is Tanya Vilches. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. It's fine. I get it all the time. I am the Transitional Housing and Rapid Rehousing Case Manager for Connection for the Homeless. One of my favorite things about outreach is obviously helping because I work in the youth department, helping the youth achieve their goals, and then in the process, getting to know them and helping them with all the proper resources.
Great, thank you for being here. Shalea?
Hi, my name is Shalea. My pronouns is she and her. I work for Martha's. I'm one of the system navigators. And one thing that I like about my job is meeting new people and learning different things and hearing about different stories that go on in our youth.
Great, thank you. Sarah?
Hi, good morning. My name is Sarah Buckley. I'm a system navigator at Northwest Compass. My pronouns are she and her. And I think my favorite thing about outreach would be that it kind of gives us the opportunity to meet clients where they're at and go out into the community and make connections there as well.
Definitely. And Monique?
Hi, I'm Monique. I'm Monique from Cornerstone Community Development Corporation. I use she and her pronouns. I'm the supportive housing coordinator here and the outreach specialist here at Cornerstone. My favorite part about outreach is just connecting with the people and like giving them things that they need on the spot, like bus passes and things like that. Just seeing that's some type of relief for them, and in that moment really I really like that part of outreach, is that maybe we can't house you right now, but at least we can take care of some of your basic needs, and I really enjoy that part of outreach.
Love that. Thank you everyone for sharing. I guess I should introduce myself too. So I'm Carolyn Back. My pronouns are she and her. I'm the outreach coordinator at the Alliance, and my favorite thing about outreach is, in case you haven't noticed already, I'm a big people person. So I love meeting new people and hearing their stories and just getting to know the community better. So thank you for everyone for sharing. I'm excited that you all are here. We're gonna go ahead and talk about some safe space agreements. And so today we are not going to make any assumptions about anyone's identity or experience. We will assume good intentions in each other. We will pay attention to our own assumptions, our own power and privilege. We realize that we're all in a process. We are kind and strengths-based when talking to and about each other and our clients. We will practice active listening. We suspend judgments of others and their opinions and cultivate an attitude of curiosity. We will respect privacy and preserve confidentiality of those present. We will set our devices so they can't be seen, heard, or felt. Well, we're all using our devices, so. And then we will respect our own and each other's time by being punctual and engaged, and we will share space in this conversation. Is there anything that anyone would like to add to our safe space agreements? Seeing none, I will move forward. By the way, if you're having issues, just send me a chat in the chat box and we'll try to work through those today. So here's a bit of our overview of what we're going to be talking about this morning. We're going to go over the core frameworks of outreach, skills and strategies. Throughout, we're going to have like a best practices skill share. I'm going to send you all to breakout rooms. Wish me luck on that. We'll talk about some scenarios. We'll discuss how to prevent crisis, how to respond to a crisis, personal safety key points, helpful supplies and services, and documenting our impact. So first, let's define outreach. So outreach is a unique service modality designed to engage and serve people who, for any reason, cannot or will not travel to a conventional service site or initiate services through typical institutional structures. Outreach meets clients where they are, geographically and emotionally, in terms of their service, like goals, so on and so forth, which is a lot of what you all said were your favorite parts of outreach, is meeting folks where they are, connecting them to services that they may not be able to get otherwise. So I'm happy to hear that those are things that you're already doing. So who does outreach? Y'all do outreach. You're our outreach workers. So just wanted to give you a little bit of encouragement here that I think you are all very capable, and I am very excited for all of our new staff and for the future of outreach. So thank you. But who else could help identify folks who are experiencing homelessness? We may work with federally qualified health centers, hospitals, street medics, emergency responders, human services, soup kitchens and pantries, librarians, peers, shelters and drop-in centers, warming centers, cultural organizations, businesses and store managers, schools and universities, and faith-based networks. Would anybody like to share how they've been working with the community stakeholders such as these in this time of COVID?
I am Eris from Martha's. We actually have, so we have our own drop-in center and our emergency shelter. We also work with District 205 to help those students get into housing if they need housing. We have our own homeless clinic, which is right next door to our drop-in center. So that works with the human resources. That's kind of a little bit of what we got going on.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Would anyone else like to share? All right, I will move us forward. So here are some examples of outreach. A nurse that does monthly foot care clinics at the shelter in town. The local mental health provider has drop-in hours with no appointment needed. Volunteers go out and hand out socks and resource guides on the streets. Staff call folks who didn't show up for their appointments to do outreach with them. Maybe a business calls about someone who's been staying in their parking lot or on their business front stoop, and also library staff who maybe have an outreach worker come to their building, or they are seeing a lot of folks that are experiencing homelessness and reach out to us as well. So where do we do outreach? So as we all know, we're doing outreach, street outreach, literally on the streets, but you also may go to restaurants. Well, this is all with a lens of COVID, but at any sort of public indoor facilities, restaurants, libraries, township offices, park district, forest preserves, emergency departments, and outdoor locations where folks experiencing homelessness congregate or live or otherwise comfortable being. So these are some goals of outreach. In our processes, we center the voices of those with lived experience and racial equity in our outreach processes. We quickly identify and engage anyone experiencing homelessness. We do harm reduction and provide practical supports and solutions. We deliver services and supports in a zero threshold way and cut down on the time, effort, and resources clients might use to find and travel to us. We serve people wherever and whenever they are comfortable to engage people least likely to come for conventional services and venues. So now I'm going to break you into breakout rooms, and I'd like y'all to take 5 minutes to come up with your own definition of outreach as a group to come back and share with the rest of us. So give me 1 minute while I send you to breakout rooms. Okay, and all right, y'all, here you go. I'm virtually sending you. Hey, Sandra, are you here?
Is it okay with you, Carolyn, if I don't join a group?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I just don't want to sort of like step on people or whatever. I want them
That's
to feel
totally fair.
I think things are going awesomely so far.
Thank you. I didn't think about the fact that Beds has like 6 people there, so they have a giant group for doing a breakout room.
Oops. Yeah, that does challenge things.
But that's all right. Next time I can move folks around so they're more evenly distributed. Welcome back, y'all.
Hey.
How do we feel about breakout rooms?
This was actually my first time doing a breakout room, and it was actually good.
Yay, that makes me happy. It was my first time.
Yeah, it was not a problem. It's actually really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it
love
was.
that.
It was actually pretty nice. I like that. Yay, Carolyn.
Yay, just trying to make it virtually fun.
That was cool. Okay, because I didn't know what was about to happen. I'm like, okay, now when are we gonna get up out of this?
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
It worked. Love that. All right, so I'm going to close this. So what did everyone talk about in their breakout rooms?
Oh boy. All right. So we came up with meeting people where they're at and creating opportunities and striving for success.
All right, I'm gonna write these down. I have to figure out how to do that. I'm gonna write them down with a pen and paper, just old school style. One more time, what was that?
Meeting people where they're at and creating opportunities and striving for success.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
We had something similar. There was a bunch of great ones. The one that sticks out to me was meeting clients where they're at and navigating and leveraging resources available to them.
I love leveraging what we got. We got to work with what we got.
Navigating and leveraging resources available to them. And it's also about creating networks. Creating networks so we can better provide services to those individuals experiencing homelessness.
Right.
Like sharing all the information is another good one. Like all the other agencies that we're working with, sharing all the information that each agency has is also good. So then no one's left behind.
Great.
I just wanted to add that I think, obviously in the context of outreach and what we're talking about, but another form of outreach is just within our own network with one another, in learning about, even with the introductions, seeing who the other system navigators are, so that's also a form of outreach and support, as well, with just within our own network, in other words.
Definitely. That's what I'm hoping that we get to do today with everyone on this outreach retreat and in these breakout rooms, which we all love now. Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else want to talk about what their group said about what their definition of outreach is?
Okay, so we actually took this literally, and we all went, all four of us, and picked like one word.
Okay.
To describe what outreach is. And then of course we did the why we picked that word. So I'm gonna ask my group to let's go in order of what we did so that you guys can chime in with your thoughts like we did in the breakout room. So Aries was first with the connection. She said connection, that was her word, connection.
Awesome.
And then my word was caring. She said connection because of course we're connecting them with resources and stuff. I say caring because we're actually, having the forethought enough or caring enough to, go out and reach out and help assist in whatever basic human need is that the person is having. Then the third word was compassion. And that's just because doing this work, you have to have compassion for the people that you're working for. And guys, please help me if I miss out anything when I'm saying your word. And then Maria says support, because we're offering supports to the people, to the clients that we're outreaching to.
I think those are all great words to describe outreach. I love the alliteration. All right, well, thank you everyone for sharing and participating in those breakout rooms. And so just to summarize what y'all have talked about and what we define as outreach, outreach seeks to build relationships and rapport for their own sake. It attends to relational benchmarks as a major aim and can often be the only contact an independent, isolated, disenfranchised, or vulnerable person has with any helping professional. Outreach employs harm reduction skills and supplies and seeks to provide practical supports and solutions, regardless of a person's endorsement of any particular goals or cooperation with any other requirements. Outreach is not case finding or recruitment for more conventional services. If someone ultimately elects to come to a service facility, they are welcomed. But this need not be the aim of outreach. Instead, goals and service plans are highly customized based on clients' immediate needs, hopes, and intentions. Outreach is necessarily collaborative and workers network inside and between service agencies with a vast array of community stakeholders. Effective outreach carefully regards the safety of the staff and the client and requires rigorous professional boundaries and awareness of limits of roles and scopes of service. So I think you all nailed it. So the functions of outreach: initial identification, intake assistance, verification of literal homelessness, crisis community response, assertive engagement, delivery of supplies and resources, and case management, service coordinations, and clinical care. Would anybody like to add anything to these functions of outreach? Or does anyone have any questions about the functions of outreach?
Yeah, Caroline, I think the housing first approach is just so crucial with, when engaging or building rapport with clients. I think sometimes we fail to realize the goal, and which is not, always the goal, but getting clients from crisis, from homelessness to housing, right? Just implementing that housing first approach, always having that in your mind, regardless of where they're staying, ultimately queuing them up for permanent supportive housing, rental assistance, whatever type of housing program that they're eligible for. Yep.
Thank you for sharing, Maria. That being said, now we'll talk about the core frameworks of outreach. So harm reduction, housing first, as Mario mentioned, hospitality and relational engagement, customer service, trauma-informed care, strength-based empowerment-oriented assessment, respectful person-first language, low threshold, low barrier engagement, anti-oppression and non-discrimination, privacy and confidentiality, prioritization of the highest acuity, most vulnerable clients, and cultural competency. So now, Emily, your fellow outreach worker, is going to share about harm reduction and the next few topics. Thank you, Emily.
You're welcome. So harm reduction is a core principle of outreach. Harm reduction ultimately focuses on minimizing harm and negative consequences. So it centers on meeting people where they are and focusing on practical solutions and basic needs to support self-care. And this includes, and I have to remember this sometimes, staff are expected to suspend judgment towards other staff as well as their clients, and learn that certain stigmatized circumstances and behaviors influence the way we provide outreach. So we want to focus on offering services where we do no harm. Does anybody have questions about harm reduction? Is anybody new to the harm reduction philosophy? Housing first. So housing first is another core principle, and it goes hand in hand with harm reduction. Above all else, we want to advocate for housing first, which means there are no preconditions to someone accessing housing or accessing housing services. So we don't want to say this individual who we're doing outreach with has to stop a certain behavior before they're ready for housing services, or an individual has to stop engaging in certain behaviors before they're ready for housing services. We are meeting people where they are and saying, we're going to provide you housing first, and then come the supports that go along with housing.
Thank you, Emily. Does anybody have any questions about housing first?
And once an individual is housed, then we can start to create goals. Then we can start to create an action plan around certain behaviors or obstacles to receiving other services. But above all else, we want to make sure they get housed, because housing will open up the doors to those meeting those goals.
Exactly. Thank you. We can.
But one of the first parts of being able to get someone through that door and getting someone housed first requires us to be hospitable and friendly and engage with everyone, even with people who we don't agree with their behaviors or we don't agree with the lifestyle they're engaging with. They're not going to be open to walking in that door unless we're kind to them. So everyone deserves respect and a warm welcome, a warm greeting. We treat everyone the same, no matter if they're someone we met underneath a bridge, or someone we met on a patio, or someone who was sent to us from a call by a police officer or a friendly neighbor. We also have to be kind to those who are making those calls. So friendly relationships with the police officers, or with the kind neighbor, or with the concerned citizen. And we have to develop relationships with everyone, because we never know who is going to need our services, or who's going to be someone referring or taking referrals, or someone we may need to network or engage with.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions about this, or have anything they want to add to share with other outreach workers? Okay, I will move.
So in line with that is customer service. You know, for many individuals we're meeting, we're the very first point of contact. We are the frontline person, the person that they engage with first. So we want to make sure that what they experience with us is going to carry out through the rest of their journey. So remember that, you know, you may be the first individual that they're engaging with outside of their little social network. And you want to build trust with that individual and make sure that they know, basically you're the face of your organization. You want to be welcoming so that they're willing to participate.
Thank you.
And trauma-informed care is another principle. And trauma-informed care goes hand in hand with harm reduction and good customer service. So trauma-informed care we recognize that a large majority of the people we serve have experienced trauma or come from backgrounds where there was some sort of trauma involved. And trauma has implications on the way people interpret our responses, the way people approach services, the way people may be scared or shy to engage with services. So we need to cultivate a safe space for the individuals that we're working with, knowing that they may have experienced trauma during childhood, trauma during adolescence, recent trauma. We want to make sure that they feel like we're providing an environment where they don't have to relive any trauma. And we respect coping mechanisms that people employ, and that goes hand in hand with harm reduction. So some people may substance abuse as a way to cope with their trauma. And we don't want to create an atmosphere where people think that they can't obtain services because they're substance abusing or because they have a past history of trauma.
Thank you, Emily, and thank you for volunteering to help present this information. I always think it's really important to learn from your fellow outreach workers, so I appreciate you being brave and volunteering. So in addition to those frameworks, we want to be strength-based and use empowerment-oriented assessment. So we regard our clients as the experts in their own lives and circumstances. And we recognize and support the skills and resourcefulness they bring. You know, our clients are very resilient and we need to acknowledge that. We address the goals that they advance for themselves and refrain from following paternalistic rescue paradigms often seen in the helping professions, you know, like the savior complex. And we encourage and support consumer leadership and input throughout our programming. And so that relates to centering the voices of those with lived experience of homelessness in our leadership, in our programming, and just throughout all levels of our continuum. And that's something that we are still working towards. And so it's important that we engage that at the outreach level as well. As outreach workers and anyone else who is working in our continuum, and really just in general, we should be using respectful person-first language. We and the people we serve first and most importantly are people. So we use language that affirms the fundamental human worth of people and respects that we are each complex combinations of our strengths and challenges. We refrain from labeling, using adjectives as nouns to define someone, or any other pejorative, oversimplified or pathologizing way of referring to people or talking about their circumstances. Could I get some volunteers to share how they use person-first language?
Like, for example, saying individuals experiencing homelessness, or he is experiencing homelessness, like, instead of like homeless person.
Right.
We could also say experiencing housing instabilities or food or insecurities.
Right. Yeah, I think that something to really remember, especially when we're talking to other community stakeholders, is to always use person-first language. So we're always going to use folks experiencing homelessness, folks who are unsheltered, or experiencing housing instability, and Yes, so let's all just keep that in mind. We provide low threshold, low barrier engagement. So we create quick access to supplies and services. We minimize paperwork as much as we can. I know it's a bit difficult with requirements, but we emphasize informal and personal and relational ways of connecting and relating with people. And we work to dismantle barriers to access and service. And we work together to employ procedures that are straightforward, transparent, and efficient. We have a framework of anti-oppression and non-discrimination. As supporters and allies of disenfranchised and marginalized people, we seek to understand and acknowledge the ways that we as staff may be privileged and/or empowered by virtue of our race, ethnicity, gender or gender expression, sexual orientation, age, socioeconomic status, education, citizenship, physical ability, religious identity, preferred language, or other factor. We strive to recognize the ways that social institutions disadvantage and oppress people and homogenize our diversities and differences, and we are committed to forging new egalitarian patterns and paradigms which support, empower, and celebrate people's individual and collective voice and power. So I am going to put a unearned privilege inventory or checklist in the chat box. Let's see if this works. Okay, so I sent everyone the unearned privilege inventory in the chat box. I'm going to send you to breakout rooms, or yeah, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to look on it on your own. And then I'm going to send you to breakout rooms to discuss about the unearned privilege inventory. So I'm gonna give everyone just a few minutes to look that over and let me know if you have issues accessing it or any questions. And I'm gonna mute myself so you can do it in peace.
I don't see it. I don't know if that's because of the type of device I'm using.
I don't have it either. And I'm on a cell phone. Maybe that's it.
That's what I'm wondering.
I'm having a difficult time accessing that as well.
I guess we could
I'll
try
send it in
emailing
the
it to
group email
people.
for you. I'll send it in the group email.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Got it.
while we are all looking at the checklist, feel free to go get some water, go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do, and we'll come back together at 11:15. So that way everyone has time to look at the inventory and to get water or use the bathroom if they need that. Does that sound fair?
That's cool.
So we'll have everyone settle back in. Can everyone put a smiley face in the
Volunteer
chat?
today. I think she's helping Sonia and Scott with accounting and whatever project they want. Yeah. She's really good. I really like her. She's learning maths.
For us. I know, but what was that partner?
Yeah, it's the one by the Comfort Inn that Journeys is paying for the people.
That was the one. I know that's where we
So
put
it's-
them in now.
It's a Red Roof Inn right by where Gregory's staying.
I'm talking about like.
Okay, so I think that mostly everyone is back. And so I'm going to Zoom you, haha, get it? Zoom you to some breakout rooms to talk about these questions since you just looked at the unearned privilege checklist. So I want y'all to talk about if you've ever done anything like this before, if maybe this one might be different than one you have done before, your first thoughts around it, and was there anything that surprised you? So I'm going to send you to breakout rooms. All right, so see you in a bit. You're going to your outreach rooms or breakout rooms.
Brian.
Welcome back, everyone. Would any group like to share what they talked about in their breakout room? I know y'all want to share. I see Danette laughing. Does that mean you want to share, Danette?
This is Maria. I would like just, we didn't talk a lot about the questions, but one of the first thought that I had when I saw the list, it was that it was a big list. So we never think about all those things when you don't have that problem sometimes. But as an immigrant, I see some of the things on the list that don't surprise me. So I just wanted to say, for example, like you said, my name is Maria Turpin. So when I moved from Mexico to over here, the Turpin last name is my husband's last name. So when I applied for jobs and they said, see the name, the last name Turpin, the first thing that they told me the first time they saw me, are you Maria Turpin? It's like double question. I was like, yes, that's my husband's last name. It's not my last name. So I see the surprise in their faces most of the time. So it was feeling uncomfortable at the beginning. Then I get used to. No, but I see the difference. If my name was Maria Ramos or Maria Turpin, it makes a big difference.
Thank you for sharing. Would anyone else like to share about their thoughts, or was there anything that surprised them? Is this similar to a privilege checklist you've done before?
So I've never seen the checklist before, and I'd like a chance to look it over more thoroughly another time. But we really discussed about in our breakout room, we really discussed how every person is going to have a different background, especially in Suburban Cook County. I mean, there are people from literally everywhere in Suburban Cook County, every ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, everything. So you just have to treat people like people. You have to treat people well. And you have to take into account that you have no idea what anyone's going through, what they went through, all the struggles that they encounter on a day-to-day basis. And you just have to be cognizant of that when you're going around doing outreach and everything, really, but specifically outreach. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
You know, there's that question there, the third one. Was there anything that surprised you? Is that when I'm out in the field?
No, just from the checklist, white privilege, male privilege.
All right.
For example, I had never thought about size privilege. And I recognize that that's not something I've ever even had to think about. And that's privilege. When you don't even have to think about it, it's when you have privilege. So that was something that surprised me for sure, because it's not one that's typically addressed or discussed. Well, thank you everyone for sharing. We will move on from this. Please keep that checklist with you and just keep that in the back of your mind, you know?
Is there any way we can get a copy of that?
Mm-hmm.
I can send it again after this. Janaea sent out an email, but I'll send it again after the presentation. Another core framework we practice is cultural competency, and this goes along with our privilege checklist. We recognize and affirm that diversity in all its forms strengthens communities, and we believe that everyone deserves welcome, respect, and culturally sensitive care. We are especially dedicated to the awareness of particular strengths, needs, and sensitivities of people from these communities or identities. LGBTQIA, G and C people. Does anybody want to volunteer to try to say what that acronym all stands for? I'll give you bonus imaginary points. I sometimes even mess up, and I'm anybody? Y'all are gonna make me do it?
We got a winner here. Go ahead, Krista.
Lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, queer questioning. Oh, I forgot the I.
You're so close.
I know I'm forgetting the I one. Intersex, maybe?
Yep.
Gender non-conforming.
Yeah. Extra points to bench outreach team. We also, one more time. So we are also especially aware to particular strengths and needs and sensitivities of people who have recently fled or immigrated to the US with or without authorization, people with disabilities, people of color, devotees of minority religions, members of marginalized ethnicities, and youth, especially for all of our youth navigators. In addition, we practice privacy and confidentiality. Information about a client is never shared with any person outside your agency without consent of the client. Information about clients may be shared with or between other continuum program staff to coordinate services. Clients are informed of this information sharing at intake, which is the CE consent form, and only details needed to better serve the client will be shared. In our system, we prioritize the highest acuity, most vulnerable clients. Clients cannot be denied shelter, housing, or other services they are otherwise eligible for merely because they are challenging for staff to engage or collaborate with. In fact, we prioritize housing and other services for the clients least connected to or successfully engaged in conventional delivery systems. So like Emily was saying earlier, with harm reduction, and housing first, and hospitality. That all relates to prioritizing the most vulnerable clients that we serve. So vulnerability is how we prioritize clients, and is a measure of clients' vulnerability to harms while surviving homelessness, and ultimately of their likelihood of perishing before being housed. Other vulnerability considerations will include age, sheltered or unsheltered status, flight from domestic violence or stalking, gender status, social connection, ability to access shelter programs and or transportation to services, and other factors such as medical or mental health frailty. So especially for street outreach workers, we know that our folks staying or unsheltered are more vulnerable than those who are sheltered. Acuity. So some factors which indicate high acuity and suggest higher prioritization will include people who are served only by outreach staff and do not access other homelessness system services, people who have difficulty or are not interested in recognizing staff or remembering prior discussions between encounters, people who are frequently targeted by negative attention from residents, businesses, and police, people who have difficulty trusting or hoping any staff or intervention will be helpful, which results in less self-advocacy or likelihood of navigating the system and or acquiring resources on their own, and people who are rapidly deteriorating or decompensating in their ability or resolve to return or re-engage in services, people who are unable to tolerate or endure lengthy or multi-stage assessment processes, or sustain goal-directed efforts for a span of time adequate to achieving housing by standard procedures. Are there any questions about vulnerability and acuity? So now we'll talk about core skills and strategies. So we'll talk about relationship building, active listening, set and maintaining boundaries, being reliable and available, prioritizing those that are most vulnerable, cultural competency, harm reduction, low barrier, and crisis de-escalation. So first, outreach, as most of you said in your definitions earlier, is about connecting with people and building relationships. So when doing so, we should try to learn, use and remember people's preferred names and pronouns, learn things people are interested in for small talk, use easy open-ended questions to start with, like, are you having a good day? Or what's new? And so now we're doing our first skills practice. So we're going to talk about your favorite way to break the ice with a new client. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into pairs. At beds, how many of there are you? Like 7, 6, 1, 2, 3, 6 of you? 7, okay. So can y'all get into pairs of 2 and then a pair of 3 or a triplet of 3? And then I'm gonna send everyone to be pairs in breakout rooms. I'm gonna move. Okay, so in pairs, you're each going to share with each other your favorite way to break the ice with a new client, and be sure to actively listen to your partner as we come back to our discussion.
Those ones though we was me and Krista went out that day. We left you. We went over there by Pulaski. And the cops got them. After we gave them all the stuff, the cops ran right up and put the cuffs on them.
So they're.
They've been looking for him all the time.
With his first alarm clock. And then like 30 minutes later.
Carolyn, we were in a full-blown conversation.
It was in the middle of a good conversation, Carolyn.
Yeah, you cut us off.
Well,
Really?
my perception of time is so off.
No worries.
So now I'm going to ask each of you to share your partner's favorite way to break the ice with a new client. So, yeah, so I hope you were listening to your partner.
Yes.
So does the beds team want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I was paired up with Almond.
I don't know. I mean, why would it be?
And so the way that here you go, Almond. How do you break the ice?
Hi, how you doing? I'm Almond Thomas for Outreach Program. I introduced myself as an outreach worker when I first approached the person. Then I asked them their name and how they doing. I asked them their name and how they doing. I present myself as an outreach worker, like I said. And then I asked them, do they have the proper ID for services? Then I talk about the services that we provide, you know, as an outreach worker. And that's just about it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, so the way I introduced myself as a Beds Plus outreach worker. I like to carry cigarettes with me, offer a cigarette. That really works well. Not the healthiest thing, but it does work. Water, basic needs. I tend to carry those items, socks, underwear, undergarments. I'll sit with them exactly where they're at. If they're on a bench or if they're on the little dirt hill, I'll sit with them right there and then. And yeah, that's kind of like my intro to meeting someone new.
Thank you. So for the next pairs, I want you all to share each other's favorite way to do outreach, if that makes sense. So like you told your other person your favorite way to do outreach, and now they're going to share what you said.
Hello, man. I'm Rob from Outreach Program. They were saying that the approaches people, you know, gives them his name. You know, you got the little badge that shows you from Outreach. See the things that they need, ask them what they need, and go on from there.
Great. And what about your partner?
Me and him kind of got the same thing. We just tell each other our stories, how we got help, and that there's hope for them.
Awesome. What about my other Beds people in the back there?
Krista said that her favorite way to do outreach was to come out of the car and be non-threatening, make sure they know you're with Beds Plus, doing outreach, not just some person coming up on them for no reason. And then just try to make small talk and just be very easy to talk to, approachable, and non-threatening at all times.
Zach likes to make small talk to make them feel comfortable after he's introduced himself and his credentials, obviously. And just build rapport, talking about anything relatable. And Garrett likes to switch it up and ask them a question about maybe a street or something. And then the ball's more in their court, and then they'll sort of steer the conversation.
Nice.
I like to add something for myself. When I approach somebody, like all of us here, we like to be treated good. You know, we don't want to be demeaned or, you know, put down because of our position. And, you know, I learned, you know, how people could be being homeless. And it's pretty cruel sometimes. So my approach is basically, you know, coming up to them and making them comfortable with me there. My story is what I went through last year. And I don't know, a lot of them been, you know, more receptive because of that. Because there's another person that has gone through that, that's standing there in front of them, that has gone through the system. And that shows what could happen.
Yeah, they see the other end of it. Is they're in a hopeless situation where they think it's not going to get any better. And then we bring Robert, and he's like, "Hey guys, that was me, and I'm housed." So it gives them hope.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
So now I'm gonna talk to room one. So room one was Jake, Maria, and Michael. So Jake, do you want to share Michael's favorite way of doing outreach?
I'm sorry, I did not participate in the conversation as thoroughly as I should have.
No
I
worries.
apologize.
So I think we all had basically the same idea of it. It's like speaking with the clients on the like for youth outreach, like speaking to them how they want to be spoken to, how we would want to be spoken to, treating them like a human being, not like demeaning them or making them feel any less than. As all of them, everybody has a situation they're going through and should be treated fairly and not discriminated against because of the situation they may be in.
Thank you, room one. Room two was Emily and Sarah. Emily, do you want to share Sarah's favorite way of breaking the ice?
Sarah's favorite way is just to say, how are you? How are you doing? How has your day been going?
Thank you. And Sarah, do you want to share Emily's favorite way of breaking the ice?
Yeah, so we both kind of had pretty simple ideas. Emily said a lot of times her first way of contacting clients is from hospitals, I believe she said. So she just starts off with asking them what their name is and introducing herself.
Great. Thank you. Room three was Jennifer and Shalea. So Jennifer, do you want to share Shalea's favorite way of doing outreach or favorite way of breaking the ice?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I learned a lot from her. She's in the younger group, but she was saying that what she does after the introduction, of course, she shares her story. So she's actually giving them a part of herself. And that way it helps them feel comfortable with sharing their story with her, which is a great idea. So I thought that was great. So I'm going to start, using that as well.
Like a skill sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Shalea, do you want to share Jennifer's favorite way to break the ice?
Hi, Jennifer said that she likes to give them a cup of coffee and give them some food. And sometimes she carries around the McDonald's gift cards for the youth. And that's usually how she breaks the ice because the youth love to drink and eat.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
what was our slogan with coffee that we came up with?
A cup of coffee goes a long way.
Yeah.
And that's what I share with her.
Yeah. Room four was Eris and Monica. Eris, you want to share Monica's favorite way to break the ice?
So, I don't know if you guys can hear me.
So me and Monica, favorite way to share the ice, or where to break the ice, I'm sorry, was just being nice. For one, just being nice, you know, welcoming, and also finding a way to connect with the youth. So whether it be a new pair of shoes that they may have on, a hat that they may have on of their favorite basketball team or football team, a piece of clothing, anything that we can find to connect at that point. We use and we kind of run with it, and we notice at that point it's easier to speak with the client.
So this was an interesting pair because when you paired us and it was just us in the group, it was really ironic for me because when I learned that she was a system navigator from Aunt Martha's, I was going to send her a message anyway, just to reach out to, you know, connect. So that was ironic. And then my only niece name is Eris as well. I didn't share that with her during that time because we were trying to get it all in. But we had very similar ideas. But what stood out to me, what she said was, after, of course, finding that initial breakthrough, was allowing herself to say, hey, we have to work together, you know, so what you share with me, I could share with you. So that stood out because there's a level of accountability actually on both sides. And so I appreciated that.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing. And group 5 was Danette and Janaea, whose lovely conversation I interrupted.
That's
Do y'all
because
want to
really enjoyed that.
do y'all want to share each other's favorite way to break the ice?
Yeah, so I'll share Janaya's. She is a system navigator and she works with the youth, and her introduction is, you know, she observes and she's friend, she comes off friendly and she's able to connect with them in a way where she's like, you know, she comes off like a friend, auntie or mom, and, you know, get there to be comfortable with her. And then that's how she engages them.
Great.
We were really getting deep before we were cut off though, but.
Oh. Janaea?
Yes, and Jeanette's approach is not to assume housing status, but to introduce herself and talk about all of the different services that her agency offers. So she doesn't really talk about homelessness in general. She talks about all of the services that they offer. And then she asks if they would be interested in knowing more about any one particular service. And then she gives them her business card.
Oh, I like this. I appreciate all of your creative and relatable ways that y'all try to break the ice with new clients. So thank you for sharing and participating. Next, we have our first scenario discussion. So our scenario is Jesse is a young adult who lives in a lean-to in the forest preserve. He uses a prosthetic leg, but the worker is not yet aware of his medical history. It's already a cold fall and the worker is concerned because Jesse doesn't appear to have warm clothing or bedding, is clearly losing weight, and seems very anxious and depressed, especially when approached. Jesse has not been willing to engage much in conversation and doesn't seem to have a plan to move indoors by winter. The Forest Preserve police have asked the worker to get Jesse out of the forest. So now I'm going to break you into larger groups, not just pairs, for you all to discuss this, and we'll come back together and discuss this as a group. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to discuss this all together. And all right, I'm going to move you to breakout rooms. 3 minutes, so at 11:55, we'll come back.
You did it again, Carolyn.
Oh, you know how I do.
Time is in the breakout session, Carolyn.
That time was 3 minutes.
Carolyn?
Lies, all lies. It was not 3 minutes.
I was looking at
That
the
went by
clock.
super quick.
Time flies when you're having fun. That's all I have to say. So we could take a few minutes now to discuss this as a larger group, and maybe some of you could finish the thoughts you were having in your smaller groups that you wanted to talk about. But does anybody have, would anybody like to start the discussion?
I would, Carolyn. Like, I've had a situation like this, you know, from the community. Like, I'll get calls from the community. And so a lot of times they think that this situation can end right now. And so sometimes in my role, I have to educate the community that this may not be a situation that's going to happen overnight. So I try to, you know, educate them and allow them to understand that, hey, you know, this is a process, and, you know, to kind of comfort them and let them know that I am on top of it. And, you know, just know that it's a process before I sometimes have to engage the client, you know, because you can't go to them and say, hey, they want you to pack up. So sometimes mines come through the community before I can get to the client. So we were just having, you know, just kind of talking about that and having to, you know, like meet them where they're at, you know, let them tell you what they need to help them. And it may be, I'm not leaving, I don't want to go, but, you know, there still has to be, what can I do for you? You know, what do you need, or how can I help you type of situation, until they build enough trust, or they may get cold enough to say, hey, can you help me go someplace, you know? But it'd be a lot of times a matter of their valuables, their most precious, you know, their most prized possessions. What am I going to do with all of my stuff, you know? So it was a good conversation and really good. So, you know, that's my take on it.
And I think going into a situation like this needs some, you know, some preparation, right? Like, what hospital are we going to get him to if he does agree to that? What shelter are we going to refer him to, get him into if he accepts shelter? What if he doesn't want anything to do with us, right? Like, what? These are questions that, you know, I need to ask myself before I go into a situation like this. Yeah, or just get another thing, get information from the Forest Preserve workers, the Forest Preserve police, get enough information to be prepared to go into a situation like this.
Yeah. Yep.
I think those are both really good points that you both brought up. That on one hand, you have to educate the community that someone who's staying outside can't just like that go to, or may not just want to go to shelter, you know? So you have to tell the community that, you know, outreach is a process. And then like Mario said, you also need to be prepared when approaching a situation like this, like get all the information you can ahead of time. So that way, when you're there, you're prepared to share these resources and supplies with the client. And also just like, you know, like we say every time, meet people where they're at. And this is one of the reasons why I'm really excited for all of us to meet the forest preserves later. And I would also like to know, in a situation like this, it would probably be beneficial to, or I mean, going out into the woods, you should definitely try and go as pairs, or at least with another person. Just so, you know, I mean, you're to someone else, a random person approaching someone. So just make sure you have another person with you when you go out into the woods.
Right.
Does anyone else have something they'd like to share about this scenario?
Yes, I do, Carolyn.
Okay.
With a situation like this, I've also had a situation like this, and you kind of have to, I used to didn't understand, you know, well, why would this person want to stay out here? It's so cold, and he's so alone and he doesn't have the proper, items he needs. Well, I can give him the proper items he needs, but if he doesn't want our services, I had to learn to understand that the person had been doing it for years and years. He succumbed to the weather. He knows how to handle, the temperatures. And, the person told me, he says, when I get cold, he said, I put newspaper under my clothes to provide insulation. And he was showing me all the things that he did to take care and provide for himself. Now, this case is a little different because the other guy, he didn't have medical needs.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
It's like, I kind of have to respect their wishes. And at first I didn't feel good about it. I felt really bad that they wanted to continue living that way. But after they explained to me that, hey, I've been out here for like 18 years. I know how to deal with the cold weather. I know this. And so I didn't walk away with tears in my eyes. Then I kind of understood. So yeah, that's.
Yeah. Acknowledge resilience for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for sharing. So of course we should be using good listening skills. We're not making assumptions about people or what they may think, know, or feel. Like Danette's favorite way to break the ice, Danette doesn't assume housing status when she goes out, and I think that's important. So, and generally ask open-ended questions. How do you feel about that? Or what do you think might happen? Or how can I support you? Questions that don't necessarily end in a yes or no, but give a chance for someone to share more information with you. In addition, as professionals, we set and maintain boundaries. We don't give cash. We don't take clients to your home or give personal gifts or give out your personal belongings. Don't transport clients in your personal vehicle except as prescribed by your service of them and with the permission of your supervisor or program manager. We do not accept gifts or favors from clients or conduct any business, like including buying or selling anything with clients. We do use the names the clients want to be called, but we refrain from using or being called pet names. We do not flirt with clients or allow them to flirt with you. We use we language, like I've been doing, and present ourselves as part of a team whenever possible. For example, we're concerned about you, we're happy to see you, we might have located a housing unit for you. Do not arrange or nurture contact with clients outside of your work. This includes any plan or attempted meeting of people socially or otherwise. If you accidentally or coincidentally meet someone you recognize from your work, it's best not to approach and interact with them. You never know if a client that you see outside of your services is with someone and that person knows that they reached out to services. So that could put your client in a dangerous situation if you acknowledge that you know them from our services. And in that case, if you do run into clients, keep things brief and friendly and make an exit. Don't friend or follow clients on social media or allow them to friend or follow you. Don't provide your personal cell or home phone information. Make it clear to clients that you will not respond to them when you are not at work. If you do feel comfortable exchanging hugs with clients, do so, but keep all physical contact brief. Learn judicious use of alternatives like high fives, fist bumps, handshakes, and we're in a pandemic. So let's not be having any sort of physical contact with anyone at this time. We also need to be reliable. Our clients rely upon us and our services, and relationship building requires dependability. So if you say you're going to do something, do it. Follow through. And because that's how we build trust, and that's how we build relationships in the community, like not only with clients, but also with community stakeholders. We need to be reliable and do what we say we're going to do. So here's another skills practice. I'm going to give you all 4 minutes to talk about what kinds of public places you visit to find people who might be experiencing homelessness. So I'm going to send you off to your groups again, and you have 4 minutes to discuss. We'll come back and have a brief discussion as a group. All right, here you go. Welcome back, everyone. Did I do it again?
You did it again. Gosh darn it, Jeff.
Ah.
Really have to. I'm gonna leave. Okay.
Well, lucky for y'all, we get to spend plenty of time together this afternoon, and we could talk to each other every
It
day.
takes 2-3 minutes. It takes 2-3 minutes just to go
We're all
and break
connected.
off in the other room.
Just
kidding.
I can give you more
Just
time
kidding,
next
just
time.
kidding.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because we're virtually. I see. All right. Does who wants to share what kind of places you visit to find people who might be experiencing homelessness?
Okay. My
Go ahead, Michael.
So we have encountered homeless folks at train stations, parking lots, like in the parking garages. They'll still be hanging out in the corner sometimes. We mentioned the Green Line. That's like by the train station where they have like the cubbies for them to keep their valuables protected, and also a good place to stay warm. And I've experienced meeting some homeless folks at the coffee shop.
And I just want to remind everyone in these discussions that we're going to use person first language. So people experiencing homelessness. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you for checking.
In the intake form,
Yeah, no
people
worries.
have households. I'm looking at City K.
Who else?
I can share. Monica and I had a really good conversation trying to stay focused on the times that we're in now, like what are safe and effective ways to meet clients when a lot of these places we mentioned, like coffee shops and restaurants, are closed or at limited capacity. We were thinking that some of the clients that we've still been in contact with during the pandemic will spend time at the libraries, but it's like they have to make an hour reservation or something. So it's still a challenge to be there at the right time. So maybe building a relationship with the library staff to see if maybe community outreach workers would be able to pop in without appointment, just so that we don't miss those opportunities to meet clients that could benefit from services.
I had no idea that you had to make reservations at the library now. That's tough.
I don't know if it's all of them, but I know in some of the northwest suburbs, that's what our clients have had to do.
Thank you for your sharing.
My name is Thomas, Outreach, Beds Plus here. I'd say gas stations, bridges, police departments, police stations, malls, and laundromats. You can find a bunch of homeless people just drifting like during the daytime, like now, because everybody moves around and they're not stationary until it gets dark. Then that's when they return back to the place that they stay, that they live. Me, myself, personally, I like to go out at night because I think you can find more, you can interact with more people at night. As long as you got somebody with you, you're still safe, but you can reach a lot of people during the nighttime.
Definitely. That's definitely something that all of us as an outreach team need to work on, being able to go out at night more. Yeah, for sure.
I agree because you can find more people because, like I say, everybody's drifting around during the daytime, trying to find food, trying to beg for money, trying to do this, trying to do that. And then they come back to their site.
Yeah.
I know I'd do it if I was in that situation,
Mhm.
you know. That's just about it for me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Those are all really good places. So everyone has mentioned gas stations, parking garages, bridges, police department, malls, laundromats, the train stations, and the places with the cubbies. And so, yeah, those are all like really good places that we can do outreach to. So thank you everyone for sharing. When you're doing outreach, you should have a posture of presence and availability during direct service. Even if it appears there are potential clients who wish to approach us, we strive to demonstrate patient, open, attentive presence. We minimize personal phone calls, email or laptop use, reading, and any other individual personal occupation, and we don't spend too much time chatting with other staff or non-clients. And as we know, Oprah is probably one of the best listeners in the world. So here she is, showing us to have a posture of presence. We should prioritize high acuity and vulnerable people, even though it sometimes takes a huge investment of time and energy. Focus as much as you can on people, focus as much time as you and energy as you can on the people who have the least likelihood of being served productively by anyone other than outreach. So yeah, we're making sure we're connecting with folks who wouldn't be connected to our services in other ways, because we are normally outreach workers are the only person that folks might come in contact with. Some other skills to practice. We're culturally competent. We strive to be culturally competent. Jake has great trainings about cultural competency. So please check those out. So we're culturally competent and especially sensitive with people from vulnerable groups and identities. We don't ask folks about their citizenship status, immigration status, and we assure everyone that we will serve them without regard to these and will not give their information or cooperate with ICE. So make sure your clients know that we won't share their information. Use client's chosen name and gender pronouns. Address everyone by their chosen name and gender pronouns, and advocate for people to be served according to their gender self-identity rather than their presentation or legal documentation. We don't ask intrusive questions about people's bodies or medical history, or expect someone to prove or verify their gender to you or anyone else. We should learn how to spot transition age youth and how to best engage with them, offer youth the opportunity to be served at youth specialty organizations or services. We have our youth system navigators, which we're really excited about. And Jake has a specific training for cultural competency around transition age youth. And I would encourage you all to reach out to Janaea to learn more about the youth program. And then we don't assume that everyone is Christian. We advocate for people who follow other religion paths and find safety and respect in your agency and in the community. So we're welcoming of everyone. We're strength-based. We affirm and celebrate clients' resilience and hard trying. We find the things your client is good at and build on those. Like we were saying earlier, our clients are really resourceful in their ways of finding different ways to shelter themselves outside, and so on and so forth. We need to be low threshold, so we work to dismantle obstacles to the clients getting served. We streamline bureaucracies and balance efficiency with relational and informal engagement. The person is always more important than the rule or process. Our clients are always more important. We learn and use motivational interviewing. So get training and practice engaging with clients without promoting your own agenda. Learn to identify and illuminate ambivalence. Words. Use the OR skill and tools such as the decisional balance sheet to support a client in decision making. So OR stands for open-ended questions, affirmations, reflections, and summarization. Jake has a training specifically for motivational interviewing, so please check out their training. As Emily shared earlier, we practice harm reduction. There's specifically trainings through the Alliance around harm reduction to improve upon your knowledge and skills. So get as many trainings as you can and brainstorm with clients and teammates about the many ways to reduce risk of harm for potentially dangerous or stigmatized circumstances, whether that's providing harm reduction supplies, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Make sure you manage your own discomfort, you provide non-judgmental support, and you pay attention to and filter your own needs, feelings, and opinions. And we should all spot and curb our rescue impulses. So here's another scenario for discussion. Melba has been homeless on and off for a long time. She has been in and out of shelter, but mostly prefers to keep to herself because people at shelter get on her nerves. She's often frustrated that no one is doing anything to help her, and usually ends conversations with the worker abruptly by walking away muttering. It's been hard to get documentation of her homelessness history and possible disability due to these factors, and Melba has been near top of the by name list without progress for quite some time. I'm going to split you into breakout groups again, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes to discuss this. So, okay, have fun in your breakout rooms.
So these two documents are pretty much the hardest ones to get to obtain, right? The disability and the homelessness history.
Janae, were you in the waiting room a long time?
No. I just got back. I was on
Oh, okay.
Jeremy. He had to, my computer wasn't set up. My VPN wasn't set up.
Okay. I was like, oh no, she's been there for a long time. Oh, here's more people. I need to admit back in.
You did good this time, Carolyn. You did good.
Getting the hang of it. All right. Does that mean you want to start off our discussion tonight?
Well, yeah, I can. That's fine. Yeah. So, I'm sure all of us have come in contact with a client like this one. And the team I was on, we all decided that sometimes leading with paperwork is not always a good thing, to basically hear the client out and to basically see what they're.
I do, and I'm going. I'm
Yeah.
gonna save,
as a
I mean, get the salad before someone else gets it.
Sorry about that.
No problem. As opposed to leading with the paperwork first, getting the signing and paperwork and stuff like that. We were thinking, to basically lead with compassion and to basically, be focused on the client more so. And somewhere down the line, we'll get the paperwork done, but we have to establish establish trust first and hear the client out. So that's what we were kind of all on the same page about.
Right. Thanks for starting us off.
All righty.
So in our group, we kind of had the same. So it was crazy because I actually had a client yesterday that he came in with a hammer in his book bag. So right, of course, you kind of like kind of scary. But what I noticed is the more I was calm with him, the more he began to be calm, and the more I was like, you need anything, you need some water, and the more I was more open to his situation and what he was going through. And knowing that if something clearly wasn't right, then he was more so open to me. So I was able, at some point, like I said, the book bag was sitting on the table with the hammer in it. And then eventually, once he got to warm up to me a little bit, it got on the floor. So I was okay. But yeah, it's just your personality. When you're more open and you're not so judgmental, like she said, don't lead with paperwork, kind of talk to them, fill them out, read their application or whatever it may be, and kind of talk to them about things that may interest them or things that they put on their application. And then they're more open to know that, okay, yeah, I'm here and you're here and you're trying to help me.
Thank you. Do I hear that Beds would like to share with us? Am I just being hopeful?
So we talked about so history, the homeless history and disability. Sometimes it's not easy to obtain. I think having that rapport, that trust, right, the compassion, empathy that comes with being a street outreach worker, significantly helps the whole housing process and all that paperwork that's needed to get through. Sometimes just a piecemeal at a time, right? These CE phase assessments are lengthy. Like I said, it's a piecemeal at a time. Working with local community stakeholders like police departments, libraries to document, for them to be third-party verifiers has helped us in getting these clients matched to housing. In-house, we do have a licensed clinical social worker that sometimes signs off on difficult clients that are difficult to engage. But we try to brainstorm ways to get around these barriers.
Great, thank you. Yeah, love brainstorming, love problem solving. Two of my favorite things.
Mhm.
All right. So just some other tips. Know how to prevent and respond to crisis and behavioral escalation, and how to keep yourself safe. We'll talk about this in a little bit. Engage cops and law enforcement only as a last resort. Plan ahead, partner with other staff, and use other strategic means to handle crises whenever possible. And I don't know if you can read that sign, but it says, more psychologists, more therapists, more social workers, more kindness, more empathy. I also had to just went to read it. Okay. So get support, reach out to your teammates and supervisors, other community stakeholders to brainstorm solutions and get backup. Y'all are doing like a hard job and you deserve support. And then have fun. Everyone earlier was sharing their favorite part of outreach. I can tell that everyone is passionate about their work and is excited to be out and doing this work. So enjoy the adventure. You get to meet clients who are diverse and resilient, and you get to be creative, and yeah, enjoy doing this work. So here is another opportunity for skills practice. So I would like you to break off into groups, and I'd like you to share how you respond to a community member who complains to you about homeless people. There should have been quotes on that, sorry. About folks experiencing homelessness. So I will split you into groups, and I would like to give you 4 minutes. I'm still at the retreat. Welcome back. So this time I'm gonna go group by group, and I would love to hear what your group talked about. So let's go with room 1 first, which was Janaea, Maria, Michael, and Sarah.
So we kind of talked about listening to the concerns of the person that's coming to you first, making sure that they feel heard. And I guess we don't really know what they're coming to us with. Is it justified? Are they complaining because there's a person experiencing homelessness in a public space where they're allowed to be? We don't really know the exact situation, but if it's somebody that is coming to us as service providers looking for us to like remove this person or fix the situation, it's possible that they don't have any experience with the homeless population at all. So as people who have experienced it ourselves or have worked with those that have experienced homelessness, maybe telling a story to somehow help this community member connect to the population and shift their perspective could be helpful.
Thank you for starting us off, Sarah. Anybody else from Sarah's group want to share? What about room 2, which had Danette, Emily, and Monica?
Go ahead, Monica. It's your turn now. I've been doing all the chatting.
Well, basically in our group, I think the main thing was making yourself accessible and present, being present. And I believe Eris also mentioned just your familiarity with the actual client, that you probably could actually de-escalate the situation. that basically you can, and actually the whole group, you probably could be able to de-escalate everything by, you know, talking to the actual client as opposed to letting wherever the call came from just stick with the call. So basically just kind of approaching the situation yourself.
Thank you, group 2. Thank you, Monica. All right, group 3 was the Beds Outreach team, Jennifer, Marlena, Monique, and Shalea.
I think we all basically came together and said that we were all trying to reinforce positivity, try to give them or tell them that we're working on a situation with the client. Every client is different, so we have to take the approach different.
And we also talked about, you know, educating the person on basically overall homelessness and, you know, the person and what homeless is and, you know, things of that nature.
Right. Thank you, everyone. So now, with this discussion in mind, we have a scenario. So we have a Karen, is a well-off community member who feels called to help Sabrina, who panhandles on the corner near Karen's office. Karen has called the outreach worker several times asking for resources to pass along to Sabrina and has asked the worker to also intervene with Sabrina. Karen believes that Sabrina needs to be convinced to participate in services and get housed, but Sabrina doesn't seem interested in talking with the worker. Karen also keeps asking for information and opinions about Sabrina, including about her possible mental health condition, her eligibility for services and benefits, etc. So, keeping in mind the skills that we all just shared, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to discuss this in breakout rooms, and then we'll come back together, just because we're getting close to lunchtime. So. All right, here you go. Jake, are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
So I think when we come back from this breakout room, we're just gonna have a discussion and then go to lunch. And so we'll probably have
You
to
want to
do this.
just, yeah, do you just want to skip the whole crisis management piece, like the behavioral de-escalation stuff? Just, I mean, we can just skip that if we're out of time.
Yeah, I think that's the last part, basically, aside from giving what supplies to bring. And so I don't want to, are you able to do other stuff while you're on this? I feel bad keeping you on this.
I'm doing a little bit of multitasking. I'm not going to the groups because I'm disinvested. I'm not going to the groups because I think people perceive me, or at least some of them do, as a leader or whatever, and I just don't want to take up too much space. I want people to have lots of opportunity to get to know each other and to sort of decrease my role in this community, since, you know, it's your baby now or whatever.
Fair.
But I'm listening to every single thing and
Okay. Okay.
ready to participate in whatever ways you want me to. I just don't want to. If we're looking at ways to save time, we could just sort of chop that off if you want. It's up to
Okay.
you.
This will be, I think, the last thing before we go to lunch, and then I'll take a look at what was left and see where we can
Okay,
chop it off. I appreciate you.
sounds good. You got this.
Thanks.
My computer died, so I don't know. Maybe I was supposed to join the group or something. And I'm like,
Oh,
no.
it's okay. Can you see the scenario on the screen? Okay. So everyone was just in breakout rooms discussing that, and so they will all be coming back in approximately 35 seconds, according to this. And we're gonna have a larger group discussion about it, and then we're gonna break for a break. I appreciate all of your ideas that you're sharing.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. At first, I'm like, oh, it might be a little long, but it's actually really, really, really interesting.
Thank you.
It's easy to share ideas, especially when people are engaging with you. It's easier to.
You did it again.
Oh no!
Gosh darn it.
Womp womp.
I mean, I'm done. I'm sorry, Carolyn. I had called you Karen. I was just like, oh my God.
Uh-oh. That's not nice.
I know.
Well, welcome back, everyone. So, I just closed who the groups were.
Can you move the chat window just to the left for a little bit? I don't want to show the picture.
Yeah.
So, does
Is it?
Janae's group want to talk about what they
No.
said they might do in a situation like this?
It was like reasons and calling people.
So we discussed that one of the best options is just to provide the person that's inquiring about the services with information about what services we actually provide, and just inform them that this is the client's choice, or the person that they're concerned about choice. And so we want to make sure that we give them the information and allow them to make the opportunity to make the first step.
Right. What about Maria's group?
I think it's going to be the same. It's just this member of the community asking for information about what of the services that we provide, just give it to them. But I'm a little concerned of this member of the community keep calling the outreach worker. So what should we say? Because it's like if Sabrina doesn't want the services or doesn't want to talk with the outreach worker, probably the member of the community is gonna keep calling to the outreach workers. So I still, my question, what we will tell this member of the community? It probably is concerned, but we really don't know. So just give the information that we have, and I don't know, and another of the groups have any suggestion? If this member of the community keep calling, what should we say to them? I'm not 100% sure. Sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry. Does anybody want to take a shot at answering that question?
know, for me, I get a lot of community calls, and they'll call Linda, Armando, Oak Park, everybody, anybody that will let the police, everybody, and they'll keep calling. And so what I do is, you know, I always, you know, I'll educate the community member, I'll educate them, and I will, you know, let everybody, you know, all parties that are involved, let them know that I am actively engaged in this client. You know, to basically let them know that I hear you, and everybody that you've reached out to, they know, you know, so I try to make sure that I cover, you know, speak with everyone, let them know that I am engaged in this person. And each time that I go back, I let them each know. And sometimes for me, that kind of stops the calls, because they know that I am hearing, because a lot of times the community member wants to know that you are hearing them, you know, and that you are actively doing something. So I try to go and engage, you know, and I let them know, and that's mine's normally go away after that.
I also have had a client like that before who was just a panhandler or just in the community in general. And once your community actually sees that you're active with that client and you talk to them, you'll be surprised how much they will call you and be like, hey, your client out here. And then I'm able, because me and my client have a relationship, I'm able to walk to that client and say, now what you doing out here? Why I'm getting a call about you? Why you out here? And then they'll start laughing and be like, oh, Miss Eris, no, go home. Like, go in the house. Ain't you supposed to be at work? And then they be like, okay. Like, so having that relationship with the community and your client makes things a lot easier sometimes.
What I find sometimes, I'm sorry, were you done? A lot of times the panhandlers, they're not homeless. You know, they're standing there. One time I had a guy, he was out there almost every day. And I approached him and he says, you know, I don't need your services. I'm not homeless. So first of all, we can't, like Danette said, assume. So this young lady at the office assumed that the person was homeless. The person might not be homeless, okay? And if they're not, then, you know, what you do, you know, you just, I mean, you can still try and help them, but if they turn you down and say, I don't want your help, then that, you know, you can't give them any help. But then again, she wanted personal information, and we're not allowed to share personal information about any of our clients. You know, those are HIPAA privacy laws, and we can't do that. So.
Thank you. Great answer. Does that help answer your question, Maria?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And does anyone from room 4, which was the Beds team and Monica?
I'll add just a comment to that. So basically, my input was, I think it's also useful for that person who's calling to have some type of relationship with that person too, especially if it's numerous occasions that this person is calling, because I believe someone in the Beds group mentioned that perhaps maybe that person who's calling had a bad experience, you know, with someone that was panhandling, and then from that experience, it's just been a negative experience. So I just added that I think it's also good to still maintain some type of rapport with that person, because they may be feeling like that at that given time, but I think it's still productive to have some type of relationship with that person, because over time you may be able to change that perception, you know, that the one that's complaining about the situation.
Yeah, this is all really good feedback and a really good discussion, because this is definitely something that happens quite often. And so I appreciate all of you for sharing. So now I'm going to send us off to lunch, or whatever you'd like to do for your break. And we'll be back here 1:30. And so thanks for being here, and I'm excited for the afternoon because it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've come across a lot that are like, I don't need your help, I am housed. I'm like, right?